You mentioned, or Darcy mentioned Operation Highjump. For anybody who's unfamiliar with that, can you give us a little bit of background on what that was?
Yeah, sure. And of course, there's a whole chapter on Operation Highjump in my book. It's such a pivotal moment. So this was a military by nature operation, as Admiral Byrd said those words at a press conference before he went down there with 4,300 men, 13 ships, including an aircraft carrier, 33 planes, and even a submarine. Why do you need an invasion force to go to Antarctica to train the troops? You could have gone to Canada or Greenland or northern Alaska to do that at much less cost and much less distance. And that Operation Highjump had an unlimited budget. It was supposed to go for 6 to 8 months, as long as it took, but it was called off after 2 months. And that's been the great mystery why. Well, Admiral Byrd, he was known to speak his mind. He didn't believe in these kind of secrets. And he gave an interview when they were coming back from Operation Highjump prematurely. And he said not to frighten anyone, but there is the possibility that we will have an enemy that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds, suggesting that our next enemy will come from the polar regions, which again really makes no sense because even there are several translations on that. And I think there are some people that don't want the pole to pole at incredible speeds, but that an enemy would fly over the pole to attack America. But if you just think of geography, Antarctica's way down here, America's here. Where's the enemy going to come from to come over the pole? It would make no sense. So either way, his interview is very revealing that something happened during Operation Highjump. And we portray that as the Battle of Antarctica on my cover, with these German honeyboo craft coming up out of the water, out of holes in the ice. And this is even according to several eyewitness accounts who did speak about this towards the end of their life, because everybody that came back from Highjump first were put into quarantine and then given gag orders never to speak about this ever again. Some of them at the end of their life decided they did want to talk about it.
And so, what was revealed by these people at the end of their life? Like, what kind of stories were kind of leaked?
So the real purpose of Highjump was for Admiral Byrd, and it was a multinational task force. There were troops from other countries that joined. They were there to dislodge the German bases. They knew about that from the British, who had been spying on them during World War II. Because remember, the British cracked the German Enigma code. So they could listen to the submarines speaking to Berlin at a couple of different spy bases, which I actually had the opportunity to go visit. British spy bases. One of them was called Port Lockroy, which is just now a museum. Another one is at the Vernansky base, which is an old British base now donated to the Ukrainians. And there they would just spend their lonely hours waiting for the crackle of another communication between the U-boats. In fact, the very last communication with Hermann Göring, who is also one of the top officers of the German contingent that went down there, he was speaking to a submarine off of Terra del Fuego on its way to Antarctica. So they knew there was material and supplies and even these honeyboo craft that were coming out of Germany going to their science city called New Berlin, which is deep under the ice. And I've had the great opportunity of working with a research assistant in Europe who can speak German and also Russian. And we came across these U-boat maps of the German U-boats going deep under the ice, and even the directions in German that we translated in English to a place called Agartha. It says it right there in German in the original documents.
And Agartha is the fabled underworld.
That's it. It's
supposed to be the hollow earth entrance.
Right.
That's right. And so in that schematic of Agartha, the land of advanced civilizations. It's the whole inner Earth realm. And it was so great working with Frank because we took the maps of those U-boats and then we charted the direction, and we found that the U-boat maps give the direction directly to the South Polar region, within 100 miles. So think about what that means. You have U-boats going under the ice, underwater. You got the big hole in the ice that you could fly into, as well as a road to go down there. So there is something going on there.